And now calling Stuart Stevenson to wind up. Minister, you have 7 minutes.
Thank you very much indeed, Presiding Officer. And let me join others and thank Peter for bringing this, Peter Peacock for bringing this important issue to Parliament. And a number of members have made reference to the fact that this issue has been around for a few years. It may be worth just making the point that there was certainly a study as long ago as 1984 by Watson, which demonstrated 1,151 kilometres of new vehicle tracks in the Grampians alone between 1960 and 1982. But I think running through the debate too has been the issue of achieving the appropriate balance between the aesthetics, the environmental impacts and the economic needs of those who live and work in our remote and upland areas. And I think it's right that that be focused on. And I thought in particular that the last contribution there from Sarah Boyack, I think rightly left open the option of quite a range of different ways in which we might deal with the issue. I think some of us in the Chamber did think that Arthur's Seat lay within the member's constituency, although we're open to correction if we don't understand the boundaries properly. But certainly even in the centre of our cities there are areas where this topic could, in some circumstances, be of relevance, and we shouldn't imagine it is simply the top of the Cairngorm or West Sutherland or some of our remote areas. Peter Peacock rightly made reference to the substantial alliance of interests, the Mountaineering Council of Scotland, John Muir Trust, Rambler Scotland and others who value our open country. Now, of course, again, even there is a balance. The proportion of Scotland that is now within reach of a vehicular transport is much greater than it used to be. And for those who are taking access rights in our countryside, that is a benefit, but it comes potentially, of course, at a cost as well. Peter Peacock said there was ambiguity in the present arrangements, and I think that is absolutely correct. This is not simply an issue that relates to planning and permitted development rights. It is not particularly well known that most hill tracks should be subject to environmental impact assessments under law. And one of the things the government is seeking to do is to engage with the owners of land where such tracks are being constructed to ensure that there is a better understanding of the legal requirements. There are, confusingly, of course, depending on the use to which it's put, two separate regimes. The effect is similar, but the regimes are different. Essentially, a track of over 1 kilometre will require an environmental impact assessment. But I think it's fair to say that's not as widely known as it should be, and it is not as widely implemented as it should be. So that's why we have the engagement that we are looking for. Jamie McGrigor suggested that nature will heal scars, but I think the point has been made by Maureen Wharton, acknowledged by Sarah Boyack, that as you go higher up the hills into what is essentially subarctic territory, that healing process is very fragile, and the scars of many, many years back will remain for a long time into the future, so we need to make sure that we protected that. Alison McInnes, like others, talked about national parks powers. Now, it is fair to say that in the national parks legislation there is not a direct reference to this, but of course that does not exclude in any sense whatsoever the designation of land within national parks as scenic areas, and thus the ability to achieve the protection that we actually seek, bringing land back inside the planning system. So in the short term, that is certainly an option for national park areas. I'm not promoting that as a substitute for a more systematic look, but it does mean that there are things that can be done in the short term. Christopher Harvey, as ever, truly eccentric, and I suspect the stone that he found on the top of the hills was, in geological terms, precisely an eccentric, brought from one place to another by the actions of the last ice age. But of course I was not and did not see his particular stone. Murdo Fraser made the point that hill roads are obtrusive. I do find it passing strange that he continues to have concerns about a project that will reduce the number of pylons between Beaulieu and Denny, but you know, there we are, and replace those that are there with pylons that are more designed to be unobtrusive, albeit they will of course be higher. But colour, placing and design is important to that. But that just opens up the very general point of the need to achieve balance. Sarah Boyack interestingly suggests a voluntary code of conduct could be of some interest, and one of a range of ways in which we might seek to improve the situation. Let me just address the issue of what the government is going to be doing. We are currently working on permitted development rights. I know that Ms Boyack is in principle in favour of these in view of considerable correspondence and discussion we've had on extending them in relation to microgeneration. They are intrinsically a good piece of intervention in the planning system. But we are looking at a range of ways in which we can regularise, systematise and simplify the operation of permitted development rights in relation to the subject of tonight's debate, and also make sure that there is wider understanding of the need for environmental impact assessments, and that we have a consistent way in which these are applied across sites of scientific interest, Natura sites, and of course our remote areas in general. There also are issues in relation to scheduled ancient monuments, which there are in our hills as well, where Historic Scotland would come in. Scottish Natural Heritage are about to make further efforts to promote guidance to land managers and contractors. We expect to bring forward our next thoughts on this subject immediately after the summer recess. It is something on which we are currently working. Once again, Presiding Officer, I thank Peter Peacock for giving us the opportunity to discuss in quite a consensual and informed way a very important subject for people right across Scotland. Thank you.
I close this meeting.